sick. Can they hear us right now?
All right, today we got Jesse with me on Beers with Buds podcast. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Welcome to the show, man.
Finally made it here.
Yeah, it's been a while. Trying to get you on for a minute. Glad you made it. So to start it off, what's your beer of choice to drink on the regular? What do you like to stock your fridge with? What's going on with that?
Dude, I'm like the worst person to be on a beer podcast.
Why is that?
I'm a social drinker.
Yeah.
I never go home and like, man, I gotta have some beer right now. But I will say, I worked for Anheuser-Busch when I was younger. When I was 21,
oh, nice.
That was like my first like big job. So I am, I lean towards all Anheuser-Busch products. So Bud Light, Busch, obviously, okay. Busch Light.
Some company loyalty there, huh?
Yes,
nice.
Very much so. But I will say, gun in my head right now, I'm a huge Guinness fan.
Oh,
I love Guinness. Yeah.
Big time, me too.
Do you?
Yeah, I explained it on. I talked about it on one of my other podcasts that I like those types of beers.
Yeah,
but I don't like to drink them often because they're so hefty.
Yeah, it's like drinking milk.
Yeah, and it just sit in your gut.
Yeah.
So it's like casually drinking. Yeah, but like if you're wanting to hammer out more than like 2 or 3, I can't drink them.
You're Irish, right? Like part Irish?
Yeah, like
1/32.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. But I do like it though, for sure.
Yeah. Have you ever had a car bomb?
An Irish car bomb?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Time. Yeah.
So a hockey team I used to play on, we were called the Car Bombs. We had this like the whole logo and everything, like an Irish car bomb. It was actually pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Yes.
I got way too many car bombs one night on St. Patty's Day, and I threw up all over my wife's car. It was fantastic.
Yes. Was that recent?
No, this was back when we were dating, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, never do that again. So you played hockey, huh?
I played a little stick and puck, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like hockey, man.
You know what's the best thing ever?
What's that?
Beer leagues.
Oh, yeah.
That Great. Is just, you get this mixture of like really good talent and not so much good talent, but everyone is there to have fun. And I love beer leagues. I wish we would play. We've talked about it before, but I wish we would get a league going. We
should. And yeah, I've played in beer leagues myself. I'm a big hockey guy. I've played for a long time.
Yeah.
And kind of what you're saying is that like, I feel like there's always younger guys. There's younger guys out there that just are speedy,
Yeah.
They got talent. And you got a mixture of older guys that are kind of trying to get into it.
Yeah.
Because they're going through midlife crises,
yes.
or they're just so old where they're just slowing down. And they're trying to keep up with these guys. And it's a hilarious mixture, dude.
Yeah.
And then you got like the middle gap there where they're like middle-aged guys that are just hammered drunk, and they think they're freaking Peter Forsberg out there slinging pucks. And they look
old
like
Petey,
idiots.
Dude. Yeah.
Fappa's out there, bro.
I remember playing up, like, because you get to this certain age, where you can like play up in those leagues.
Yeah.
And you're always like waiting for it because you see those guys play after you or before you, whatever it is, usually after. But yeah, I remember my first beer league experience. Like, obviously I was underage, probably like, 15, 16. And I'm on the bench with these guys, and there's like a bottle of Jameson, Jack Daniels on the bench, and these guys are just drinking. I'm like rolling behind the ref, and he just smells like booze. Oh. It's insane, dude.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good time.
It is a good time.
Yeah, because I mean, it's the same thing. I would be like 18, 19 years old playing in those beer leagues, and the team I would typically play on those beer leagues, I also was playing with a lot of my cousins, right?
Yeah.
So we all knew each other. My brother played here and there with us intermittently, and then I kind of turned into that same type of thing. But you can tell when you're that young and you see guys that are drunk, you're like, what's wrong with that guy?
I know.
Like, is he okay?
And still playing hockey, dude. Yeah, that's crazy.
Because you don't realize that he's hammered. Like, he's drunk. He's
Literally.
a grown 38-year-old man hammered drunk on the ice. He can barely keep his skates underneath
Still living the dream though, dude.
Man. He was the high school all-star, baby.
Yeah.
But you're concerned when you're younger, right? You're like, dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
You get exposed to that, and you're like, well, I don't know if this is for me. But then you kind of revel in, and you're like, yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
You're playing with the big boys at that point.
Yeah. Because when you're
Old
a younger
time
kid,
hockey.
when you're a younger kid, you're like, oh yeah, I made it. I made it.
Yeah.
To the beer league. You're like, oh, now I don't ever want to play in a beer league ever again. Just kidding.
Speaking of like beer of choice in college, because I feel like there's like this evolution of beer, you know, like when you grow up. Like my dad always used to drink Budweiser. That's all I ever saw. He still drinks Budweiser to this day.
So back in the day in college and stuff, like when you could just drink a ton of them, right?
Yeah.
And not worry about it, and you're broke and you have no money.
Yeah.
The group of friends I had at the time, we always used to buy 30 cases or 30 rack of Keystone
Light. Yes.
Keystone Light, man.
That's how it started. Yeah.
And we used to call them, the slang was a 30 stone, right?
Yep.
Like,
30 rack key, dude.
They'd be like $14.
Yeah.
Like, hey, who's got $3? I got 10. I need like the other 3.
Back when pitch money was a thing, dude.
Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. We'd get 30 stones all the time, man. And that's what we roll with.
You know what I used to do? So if I didn't have any money, I would always somehow be with the guy that was bringing beer, and it would be like 230 racks, whatever. We show up to a party, and I'd be like, dude, let me carry that for you. And he'd be like, are you serious? And I'd be like, yeah, I'll carry it for you. So I walk into the party with 230 racks of Keystone, dude. And the whole party is just like, yeah. And I'm like handing out beer, dude. And the guy's just happy they didn't have to carry it in.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the days, dude.
Yeah, those were the days. So obviously, 30 stones for you. What did you graduate into as you got a little bit older, though? Because like, I, unlike your dad, I would hit stages where I'd get sick of beer, or I'd start drinking a certain type of beer, and I'd start like to drinking it more often. So I'd transition, right? Not necessarily that I'd get sick of another beer, but I just like the taste of another one better.
Yeah.
What did you end up like graduating through?
So after Keystone, I kind of went through this weird Bud Light Lime phase, and it was just like, it just tasted so good, and I would drink it all the time. We would always get Bud Light Lime, and then after that, I'd kind of say that when I started working for Anheuser, it was Bud Light, literally Bud Light, Shock Top. I kind of barely drank Budweiser at the time, because it is kind of like an acquired taste, you know. But Bud Light, I'm super simple with that. I know you had Jared on here, and he drinks sours, but he doesn't like double IPAs, and I'm kind of the same way. I don't like sours though either.
Oh, me neither.
It's sour, dude.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. I like it simple, right? I like obviously all beers to some people can taste terrible, but like to me when I drink Budweiser, it's just, it goes down so smooth and so easy, and I think it tastes good.
Yeah.
And then have you ever done a thing where like you've been at a restaurant, or you were eating dinner, or you're eating lunch somewhere, and you've been drinking like a specific beer like Budweiser. You've had like 2 of them. And you're like, oh, that was great. And then you're like, oh man, you know what, this beer, I've been meaning to try this beer. And you switch it up, or like they're like, oh, the keg's tapped, so all we have left is Bud Light. And you're like, okay, fine, I'll take a Bud Light. And they bring it out to you, and you're like, oh my God. You do the first drink of it, and you're like, that's horrible.
Yes.
Dude. Isn't that weird how that works though?
That is weird.
Because like I feel like if you were to start drinking Bud Light, you probably would never notice the difference.
And because I've done that before, you know, depending on the group of people, I'll try and like, you know, be a chameleon or whatever. And if, you know, people are drinking weird IPAs, I'll do it mainly because like, you know, if it's like 10%, it's like, okay, well, I'll feel it better, but it always comes back to Bud Light. Yeah. Like at some point you're like, okay, I got to stop this. And now I have to drink Bud Light. Yeah. But it's that weird taste. It almost like, I don't know what the taste buds do, but I usually wish I just would have started out with Bud Light. Yeah, because your palate's like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah. You can get it out of me. Yeah, what is this peasant taste? Yeah. It's that meme. It's like, I'm sorry, is this some joke I'm too poor to understand? Yes. Yeah. So unpack that a little bit for me, though. You said be a chameleon. What does that mean to you? What is being a chameleon? I kind of just like, if I'm in a group and, either they're drinking something or, I kind of just like it's just easier for me to just, and I'm not a follower. So if you're getting that, that's wrong. But it just makes life easier.
Oh, so you just don't want to rock the boat sometimes if you're in a group setting and you're like, yeah, just go with the flow.
I mean, it depends on the day. Sometimes I like to, go with the flow, and then sometimes I like to piss people off, and then I might do something weird, but
yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Or at least I have.
Yeah.
So I kind of know what you're talking about. So tell me a little bit about where you came from, right? Are you a Colorado native?
I'm actually originally from New York.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I've been out, here in the mountains for about 20 years now. So I'll never consider myself a Colorado native at all. But at the same time, I've only lived in New York for like 10 years. So, but it was definitely different moving out here. And I know you and Alex talked about it, but that original like culture shock of coming to Colorado from like a big city was just crazy. Because back then, like DIA, there was nothing out there.
Yeah.
Even like where we are, there was like not much out here.
No.
And now it's like crazy. Everyone's coming out here. But originally it was definitely a culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same, man. Well, I shouldn't say same. I grew up around here, and I've noticed the big change, right? Because living in this town was like, or around this area, I should say, everything was so small, like nothing changed for a while, and then all of a sudden one day it was like, bam.
Yeah.
It was like a Mike Tyson punch of growth, where you're like, whoa, what just happened?
And it hasn't stopped.
No, it doesn't seem like there's any end in sight,
Yeah.
right? It just seems like it's going to get worse, or I shouldn't say worse, but it just seems like it's going to keep growing. It's just going to keep expanding. It's like, that's nuts, man. Because I've noticed it. And you talk about people I've had on here, people that I know that aren't from here and move here, and they're like, oh, this is a nice, quiet town, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, you should have seen it 15 years ago, man. It was even better as far as quietness was concerned.
It's crazy because I'm able to know what the city's like because I'm from the city originally, but at the same time, like I know what it was like before. Like I know what Colorado was like before. So I can still kind of understand what people are saying that are like natives that have been here their whole life.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I don't like it.
Yeah.
At first, I wanted to do everything that I could to get back to the city. So I was like, dude, this isn't for me. Like, I don't want to be here. This is
culture shock, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. It's the country out here. And then, you kind of just get used to it. And I don't know if it's the same for everyone as you get older, but it's like, I almost just want to move far away on my own land and just do my own thing.
Yeah. I think that comes with age though too, right? I think as you get older as a person, you kind of you tend to start wanting to be venturing off on your own anyway.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, I don't want any roommates. I want to live with my wife, and I want to live with my kids, and I want to live with my family. I want to live alone, and I don't want to have an HOA. I don't want to have neighbors. Yeah. I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I just want to hang out, chill out, live with my family, and have everyone just leave me alone. I think that comes, that's also coming from a guy that's from around here, that kind of how it was when we were here, when I grew up here. Not to that severe extent, but it was similar to that. But then people, I think, in general, when they come around here and they see that and they see the growth and they're like, dude, stop growing. I came here to have it nice and quiet, and now it's not quiet anymore. And I'm ready to, like you said, venture off on my own, buy some land, have no one bother me. I don't want to be bothered. Just leave me alone.
I will say,
piece of land, and I'm just going to do my job.
I will say, I'm kind of like in the middle. So, out here we have that luxury of like where you can be far away, but close to, shopping and stuff like that. And then you have the option of just being far away, being just completely out there off the grid. So if I had the choice though, I would like to be far away, but also like, 15 minutes away from like a convenience store or something like that.
Yeah. And what's crazy though, is that we work with a guy, that is also from the big city. And I was talking to him a couple years back, and he was telling me about being from New York. And I was like, hey man, why are people so attracted to like that big city life? Like, why do they like it so much? And he broke it down to me this way. He said, the main reason why people like it so much is convenience. He was like, look, you have everything you need within walking distance. I mean, literally, like you come down the elevator from your apartment and you walk 3 doors down and you're in a grocery store, or you're at a gas station, or you're at a restaurant. Like everything is within 5 minutes of walking or less.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people like that factor. Like it's just easy to fall into that, just being able to walk wherever you need and not have to worry about anything else within your job, within where you live, where you want to eat. And so he explained to me that his family still lives there, and they came out and visited him here. And where he lives is a little bit north of where we are now, right? And he was telling me the story about how they were driving to a grocery store to cook dinner, and his mom was losing her mind because of how long it took to get to the grocery store, because they had to drive there, and it was like a 5-10 minute drive.
Yeah.
And she's like, what's taking so long? This is dumb. And he's like, we're just going to the grocery store, Mom. Like, it's not a big deal. But she was losing her mind because she's lived in the big city for so long, and she didn't realize that, like, sometimes you got to drive 10, 15 minutes to go to a grocery store. It's not a big a deal. But to her, she was like, this is crazy. Why would you ever do this? Why would you ever drive more than 2.5 minutes to where you need to get to?
That was definitely one of the things that was a definite culture shock. And it's weird because, like in New York, any big city, to be honest, like you see people walking everywhere.
Yeah.
Here, you don't see that. The only time I saw that was during the quarantine, where people were like out just because they wanted to get out of their house. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like people are actually walking. But like if you see someone walking now, like people pull over and ask like, hey, do you need a ride?
Yeah,
are you okay? Yeah. That happened to my uncle. My uncle moved out here, and he lived in north of here, like kind of, in where Alex is at, but like kind of more in the countryside, like by the lake.
Uh-huh.
And he used to walk to work every day, like miles, because he was just used to walking. And people literally pulled over like almost every day that he was walking, was like, hey, do you need a lift? Like we could drive you somewhere. And he's like, no, I'm just used to it.
So I want to walk to work. Leave me alone.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. And I feel weird walking. Like I don't want to just go out on a walk because it's just so weird.
Yeah.
But I do love it out here though, to be honest.
Yeah. I like Colorado. I talked about this in the last episode I did. I think geographically speaking, Colorado is one of the most beautiful states in the nation.
Yeah, I agree.
Easy, right? And so that's why I love it. Now, there's other reasons why I don't care for it, and that's a whole nother topic that I'd probably rather not get into anyway, but I would like to be able to move somewhere else, not only because I feel like I've lived here for so long, but also because I'm ready for a new experience, right?
Yeah.
And Alex was talking about, coming from Texas. I've spent a lot of time in Texas in my adult life, and I love the state of Texas. I love it. There's a lot of people that hate on it. There's a lot of people that are 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time there, and I love that state, and I love the area that I was at.
Everyone's going there.
Well, and that's the other problem too, right?
But like for good reasons.
You're having all these coastal cities that are they're flooding.
Yeah.
All these, landlocked states. And it's like, that's crazy, right? We're talking about the growth of where we are. That plays in a factor with states like Texas too. They're experiencing the same type of thing. And so, you have Oregon that's got a mass exodus going on. You've got California, New York, all these big coastal states are losing a ton of residents to more inner flyover states. And it's crazy to see, man, because I was just watching a report on it the other day that there's some kind of crazy amount of percentage of people that are moving from those states to the interstates.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
I will say though, I'm actually glad you brought up Texas, because when I retire, when that time comes, who knows when that's going to come, but I've definitely talked about going there. But to be honest, I don't care where I land, as long as I'm on a golf course. That's really my own goal. I just want to be on a golf course, and that's what I want to do is the last half of my life is I just want to golf every day.
Yeah. So I'm gonna rewind a little bit here. I think another reason why I want to move though is because I'm ready for a new experience, right?
Yeah.
I've lived here for a long time. I've enjoyed every bit of it. There's some things I probably didn't care for, but I'm ready. I'm ready to experience something new.
Yeah.
You know, I'm ready to go out and live into another state that has, offers different things. And then there's a trade-off with almost everywhere you live.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for that. And whenever that comes, it's going to happen, right? Like you said, if I retire or
soon, coming soon or coming later,
I don't know. Who knows, right? But that's all I had to say about that. So let me ask you a question. You play golf.
Yes.
And you play hockey.
Yes.
Well, I play golf and I play hockey.
Get out of here.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think there's some kind of correlation of hockey players and golfers, and as far as like, does it help? Does being a hockey player aid you in being a better golfer?
Man, in all honesty, I don't think I've ever thought about hockey while playing golf, nor have I thought about golf while playing hockey. That's a really good question. I don't know if it has or not. I could tell you what sport definitely doesn't translate, and that's baseball.
Yeah.
Because my wife played college softball, and her switching over to golf, like they have that whole thing that they do with their feet. They squish the bug and all that. And watching her hit a golf ball, like her swing is crazy and it's good, but it is like, it's a baseball swing. You like cannot drop that. But, I'm going to go golf tomorrow. So I'm probably going to start thinking about that, see if there's any like correlation with that. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, the reason I ask is because, I follow the Avalanche quite a bit, and over the years they play golf quite a bit.
Really?
They're off season.
Hand-eye coordination, I could see that.
They play golf a lot, and you can even actually reference other professional sports that play golf, like Tom Brady playing golf.
Yeah. Seems like all famous people, especially athletes, play golf.
I think that if you have enough athletic ability, you can start out at a decent level of golf. Right?
I agree with that. Yeah.
I'm not saying you'd be good by any means, and I'm probably going to get crucified for saying that, like, you're going to be good at golf just being an athlete. That's not what I mean by that. I just mean that, like, if you have some kind of athletic ability, it would give you a very good base to start from to be able to build your skills as a golfer. Right? Yeah. And so I asked you that because I see a lot of professional NHLers that on their off seasons or when they get kicked out of the playoffs, they start golfing.
Mm-hmm.
And they start doing that more often, because they're in their off season. They have a little bit of a break, and a lot of them play golf. And I like to play golf, and I'm not saying I'm good, but I love playing.
You're pretty good.
And I like playing hockey. I love hockey.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, dude. If I could have a rink in my backyard and a golf course in my front yard.
Yeah. Perfect.
Dream.
I think now, after you said that and you kind of explained it a little bit, I think they complement each other. I could see that. Because, hockey players are weird. They'll be like playing hacky sack or like
the soccer.
Yeah. Doing like the weird drills with the balls.
Yep.
And like catching them.
So I could see, especially do the tennis ball drills, right?
The tennis ball.
Yeah.
And hockey players are so interesting, man. Like, especially at that level. But I think
semi-pros and the show, man, those guys are nuts.
Oh yeah. I think they probably do complement each other in some way. They have to. I mean, whether it's just hand-eye coordination, 100%. And even just like, because when you're coming up to like your short game, you're changing your approach a little bit. Maybe you're not doing like 100% swing like that close, but you're doing like 80% swing. I could see that correlation. Yeah, now I can.
Yeah, that's why I asked, man, because I feel like there's just a lot of people that play golf and hockey.
I think it's
a lot.
And there's people that hate golf. They like fucking hate it. And I never understood that. And I know it's a frustrating sport, and it's a gentleman's sport. I shouldn't say that, but you have to be very patient with it. Now, I swear, when I play, I'm only looking for like one good shot to keep me coming the next time.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing too. When you're talking about golf specifically, there's a lot of people that don't even want to try it because they know it's hard.
Yeah.
Right. It's a hard sport. It's a hard thing to do. But I'm the same thing as you, right? If I get like a flush shot, and I can hit a ball exactly where I want to hit it, as far as I want to hit it at where I'm hitting it at.
Yeah.
That's like the little bit of a, I don't want to correlate it to drug use, but it's like,
yeah, a little bit of a high.
That's your high,
you're
right?
chasing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you're chasing after. You're like, ooh, you feel that click and you're just like, that was nice, dude. I want to keep doing that.
I agree.
You keep chasing after that perfect stroke again, right? That's why I keep coming back too. But there's a lot of people that are like, nah, golf's dumb. That's a stupid sport, blah, blah, blah. And they haven't even played it. And if they have played it, they're usually disgruntled the whole time anyway.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be there. And it's like, whatever. And get off the course. I mean, I'm not going to force people to play golf, but
golf is like one of those things too. Like, it's just the best time. You know, even if you're, you know, have a foursome, you guys go out, you're playing in a scramble tournament or whatever. Like, it's just so fun being out there with the boys and then just letting loose for, you know, 9 or 18 holes. Yeah. Like, you can't replace that with anything.
Would you ever play more than 18 holes at one time? At one round, would you play more than 18 holes?
So I played twice, I think, during the quarantine, and I like went to the range a couple times, and I went out a few weeks ago and I golfed 18 and I was like, holy shit. My like this muscle right here was killing me.
It's hurting
and it's crazy because I wasn't even walking. I was riding 18 holes and I was still, but you're swinging 18 times with the driver at least. And then however many times you're hitting, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, with par threes. So I guess you're not swinging 18 the whole time, but I was smoked. I don't know if I can make it, but my buddy golfs like, you know, multiple 18s a day. And I'm like, dude, how do you do it? But he lives on a golf course.
Oh, same thing. I got a good buddy that's in Nebraska right now, and he's fantastic at golf, man. I mean, he's great. And I like to play with him because watching him play is fantastic. He swings that club like silk, baby. Yeah. It's so smooth. And how his stroke and just the fluidity of it, it's fantastic to watch, right? And it's nice to know people like that because like almost anything, any sport or any hobby you have, if you have someone that you can look at that you're like, oh, look how good this guy is at this thing, you kind of try to, you chase that, right? Because if you don't have that, then you don't know what you're looking for and you're just kind of doing it on your own. You're left out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I see him play and I've played with him several times and I'm like, dude, it's art. It's art watching him on par threes, landing it, you know, within 3 feet of a hole. You're like,
God.
Yeah. Because it's not because he's getting lucky, right? Because I've played golf enough where I've landed at 3 feet in a hole, but that's been like once out of 9 rounds of golfing.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I play it off like I tried to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, he does it like 2-3 times every time he plays. You know what I mean? Because he's that good and he's meaning to do that.
I envy that, dude.
Exactly. And so when you see it happen, you're like, there's just a whole different level.
Yeah.
When he's intentionally doing that and you see him with his swing hitting, making contact with the ball and it flying in the air and landing where it needs to go, that is just like, it's art, man. It is. It's
you know where I screwed myself over was I started playing scrambles a lot, like tournaments a lot. And obviously, you know, you get pretty much 4 shots at a hole.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you don't even have to shoot if the shot's that good.
Yep.
And I started playing those so much to the point where when I was playing solos, like it was actually messing me up. And then I had to like kind of switch. You were
forced to take every shot.
Yeah. And it was almost like, you know, it's just one of those things. Like I was getting shots that could have, you know, got points, but at the same time, it was either 3-putting or coming up short. Yeah. And it was just rough. And I got to be honest, when we started this podcast, I did not think it was going to go to golf, but here we are, dude.
I love golf, man.
I really do too.
Here's the thing. Golf is like baseball for me, bro.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that I cannot watch it. I cannot.
Really?
No.
I can.
Can't do it. It's too boring for me, man. I just can't do it.
That's weird. I'm that way with hockey, though, to be honest.
Really? You don't like to watch hockey?
I like to watch like amateur hockey. I'll watch playoff hockey, and I'll watch hockey like if I'm actually there at the game. But I was always like more like turned on by like amateur hockey, like watching the guys on after I was playing, I could watch that shit all day.
So do you like the Eagles?
I do like the Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, me too. We talked about them in one of my podcasts, man.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
fantastic. I can't.
Yeah,
praise
direct
them
feeders
enough.
now to the Avalanche.
Yeah, I know. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the Eagles.
I think I love watching the Eagles. I think, and I usually don't say this about sports, but like when you're at that point where you're just almost there, the competitiveness of these athletes, like it's just different. In my opinion, it's just different, especially when they were in the ECHL, when it was like all fights. And Garza told me that story. When you were talking about, oh, these guys fight all the time, and then you took them to an Eagles game and they just didn't fight at all.
It happens, man. Sometimes you get skunked on fights on that, but
the Eagles have like a top 10, like out of all the NHL fights, they have that top 10 one of I forgot his name, but he's the dude that I think he like jumped out of the box to fight. It was something crazy like that, dude, or like jumped out of the.
You're talking about the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
Was it Fraser Philippic?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I got to play.
Actually partied with him once.
I got to play stick and puck with him once.
Are you serious?
Swear to God.
I partied with him once.
Freak.
Sorry,
timing.
Fraser, if you don't want me to bring this up. But
Sorry, Frazy baby, my bad.
That's sick, dude.
At the ice house, the local rink I'm at, dude, I was suiting up to play because like I just had some free time. I was going to play stick and puck.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there next to this guy. He's getting ready, like, with me, you know, in the locker room, and looking at his bag, and it's got an Eagles logo on it. And I was like, oh, this dude probably bought this off eBay or something.
Yeah,
right?
Junior Eagles.
Yeah, Junior Eagles. This kid's probably in 8th grade, right?
Yeah.
But this dude had an Eagles bag, and it looked like a legit, you know, bag. You know what professional hockey bags look like.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's a legit Eagles bag. I could tell. And I look at the guy, and he looks a little bit older, right? He's probably at this time when this was happening, he was probably late 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting ready, and I'm like, hey, did you play for the Eagles? And he was like, yeah, I played for a while. And I was like, oh, really? I'm a big fan. If you don't mind me asking, what's your name? He goes, my name's Fraser Philippic. And I was like,
oh, no way,
dude. I was like,
that's so sick.
Yeah, I was like, dude, huge fan. Big time fan.
Were you on the same team as him?
No, it was stick,
it was just stick and puck. You guys were just messing around.
Yeah,
gotcha.
not drop in. So I was like, dude, I'm a huge fan. I loved when you would fight people and knock dudes out.
I love when you fight people.
Yeah, well, because he got famous also for doing a one-punch knockout.
Yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So I was like, dude, big fan. I've been watching you for a long time. You know, he's like, oh yeah, I appreciate it. You know, he was a very cool dude.
Dude, he's super humble.
Yeah, very, very much. We BS'd for like 10, 15 minutes, man. And then when we went out to play, he and I were just trading passes and just kind of messing around together. It was a good time, dude. I couldn't believe it though, because like the whole time I was like a little kid, like at Christmas, like.
Dude, that's so sick.
It was awesome.
I love that. So when I met him, we were actually at like a party, like an Eagles party. So it wasn't like a college party. It was an older function, but we were playing it wasn't beer pong, but the game where you're like throwing the basketball in like the big trash cans.
I do. There's a name for it.
I don't know the name, but we were playing that, and I didn't even know it was Fraser the whole time we were playing, because he's just like so cool, and he doesn't have to be like, hey, I'm Fraser Flippick.
I play for the Eagles.
Yeah. Sorry, dude. He was just cool as shit. Yeah. He was like, we were like laughing and joking the whole time, and then my dad pulls me over. He's like, yeah, it's Fraser, dude. He's pretty good. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's Fraser Flippick.
Wait, Fraser?
Yeah.
Who?
Are you serious,
Fraser
dude?
Who? It
was a good time. He's a good dude, great dude. I might see him again later on, but yeah, great dude.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot.
Yeah.
I was stoked. Not only did I like watching him play, but the fact that I got to meet him, I was stoked about that too.
Yeah.
It was not one of those cases where it's like, would they say, don't meet your hero, right?
Yeah.
That guy at one point when I was a young hockey player, he was one of my heroes, and I got to meet him. He was cool shit.
That's always, best case scenario, dude.
Yeah. Best case Ontario, man. Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, around the time that I met Fraser Philippic, I also he'd played for so long. I was going into college too, or the age of being in college.
Yeah.
And I chose to get a job and whatever, and I came back, and I decided to rent a house with some of my buddies in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of my good buddies. And we lived on UNC. We lived on the campus that is around our community, right? So like definitely coincidental, but it was a weird experience for me because I also was the youngest one.
I was too.
I never told you this. I was the youngest one, so everyone had turned 21 before me.
Same.
So all these guys were like partying and having a good time, and there's parts where I was like, this sucks because I'm like 20 years old, and everyone's out at the bars having fun.
Yeah.
I'm at home by myself like a loser, dude. This sucks. You know what I mean?
I was the youngest one too. I didn't know that because you're kind of, I thought you were, well, either way. So I was the youngest one that graduated high school. Like I started high school when I was 13 years old. Like I was young. Because in New York, the cutoff date is like September or October or whatever. And I just made the cutoff date. So when I came out here, everyone, I should have graduated in 2010. I graduated in 2009. So,
okay.
But
really? I didn't know that.
It's weird. Super weird. So when I came out, I was like, everyone was like a year older than me. So almost same scenario, but
okay.
It was literally the same. I was literally at the same campus you were at. And I kind of like moseyed on at different campuses too. I was just young, dumb. Yeah. And I was literally living the college life without being in college. And it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like going to their chow halls, their facilities, like staying in the dorms with them. It was just, it was crazy, dude.
See, I didn't do any of that.
Really?
I was just renting a place with my buddies. I didn't actually go on campus or I shouldn't say, I didn't go. No, that's not true either. Dude.
Don't lie.
Okay. So there's a Frisbee golf course on campus.
Yes.
We played that all the time.
Dude, I love Frisbee golf. Such an underrated sport.
We played Frisbee golf and the course cuts through the whole campus, right?
Yeah.
And so like for people that don't know this campus, we would do that all the time. And all these guys that I was with were going to college there. I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I was the same age as them, so I looked like I went there. So we would play Frisbee golf through this course or the Frisbee course through the whole campus of the university. So I can't say I never used the university, but I never went to like the DFACs or anything like that or the dorms. But
yeah. So one of my buddies, when he moved in, he had this weird roommate, and he ended up just dropping out, like in the beginning of the semester. So he had this like open room. So it was like his bed and open bed.
Right.
So I would just stay there like randomly. We would hang out, party, whatever. But it was fun, dude. I was there like on the freshman day. Like I lived the whole experience, dude, without actually going. But it was a good time, dude. Just stupid kid shit, dude.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of it was dumb. But that's funny stuff, man. I mean, I think that those kinds of experiences really, I think helped me out a lot as far as like I lived it, I did it, and I realized like it's not all the hype. Right? Yeah,
seriously.
It's fun. It's fun.
It happens quick.
It's fun. You think it's worth it this time, or you start doing stupid things. I think it's very easy for people to like kind of stray down a path of, you know, and I don't want to say degeneracy, but if you keep living that lifestyle and especially if you're not going to school, if you keep living that lifestyle, you can start doing dumb things, right? You can make stupid decisions. You can start doing stupid things that really can wreck your entire life. So I reached a point when I was doing all that, right, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get in trouble. Like, I know I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to do something stupid. I'm going to break the law, whatever. Yeah. I had to get out of it, right? Because we had been living together for a while. We moved from a couple houses in here and there. And I wanted to keep doing it, but I knew if I did, I would be in trouble. So
that's good to realize that at a young age. And you had essentially, how many jobs have you had? Not many, right?
Well, I've had about 3.
Really?
Yep.
3, including the one?
Including the one I'm currently in right now, but the one I've been in right now, I've been in for a while.
Yeah. And that's awesome, dude. I like actually am really jealous of that. But at the same time, so like I had so many jobs. Like you could probably just rattle one off, and I probably worked there at some point.
Really?
Yeah. And
here in this area, or just in general?
Yeah, like all northern area. Okay. Like I was all over the place. And at the time, like,
well, you said you'd worked for Anheuser-Busch, right?
yeah. And that was just like, that was my actual like first like big boy job.
Yeah.
But dude, before then I was working literally everywhere. And to me, it was like, and this is not what society tells you to do. Society tells you to, have a job, be a long lasting employee and, go to school, further your education, whatever the case may be. And I was working so many jobs because at the same time, I was young, I was dumb. I definitely like picked up a job and then left the job. But at the same time, to me, it was like, dude, why not experience like all these different things?
Yeah.
Because I was always working a job and then I would have a better opportunity and then I would go to that job thinking like, oh, okay, I could learn more and it would make me more well-rounded. But then you grow up and you're like, oh, society does not like that. Like,
no,
having a lot of jobs is not good. But to me, I made it up in my mind. I was like, I'm doing so many different things though. Like I feel like I'm more well-rounded. But I'm obviously happy with the job that I'm at now, and this has definitely been my long-lasting job.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't change it for anything. But yeah, when I was younger, I was just like, oh, I want to experience everything, like literally everything.
I kind of didn't have that luxury, to be honest. I shouldn't say it's a luxury because it kind of makes it oversimplified. But I had done a couple like local city jobs where I live at, right?
Yeah.
I did a tutoring job when I was in high school.
Okay, that's one job I didn't have actually.
Yeah, I did a tutoring job. I was in high school and I tutored some grade school aged kids.
In what subject?
Just all of it, right?
Really?
So like, yeah, they had an after school program where they would basically, the city would hire like, 4 or 5 kids for every elementary school around.
That's cool.
And pay you like $8 or whatever it was.
Yeah, minimum wage was different back then than it is now, dude.
It was $8, dude. I think
that's
it was
insane.
Like 6.
Yeah, like I remember when it was like $6.30 or something like that.
They'd pay you like $6 an hour.
Yeah.
It was like 4 hours of work.
Yeah,
3 days a week or whatever. Anyway, I did that. Like that was like one of my first jobs, right? And it was fine. It was a good step into like being an adult.
Yeah,
like you're talking about.
Yeah,
and then I got a job working at a rec center. Doing like
over here,
the Funplex, man.
Oh no,
yeah,
no
the
way.
Funplex, dude. Yeah, I would. So I got hired on, and basically, me and the 4 other people we were part of the same program. It was another program put on by the city where they hire out young kids to be able to, experience jobs and stuff, and get into the job market.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It's a good initiative by the city, to be honest, and. I had that job. That was my second job to where like I kind of took that one serious where we would be in charge of like maintaining the facility and not necessarily just janitorial service maintaining, but like also helping customers
like
too,
customer
right?
service and all that.
Yeah. So like, if people had questions or like if you had to just go take care of anything, like you kind of were just like the mitigator, right? Mm-hmm. That's the best description I could have for it. But also you were a cleaning person. You were janitorial. Custodial.
Yeah. Utility.
So it was a little bit of all of it. Yeah. Utility for sure. It was a little bit of all of it. And that was awesome for me. Like I had a good time. Mm-hmm. At the time I obviously was not old enough to own a car. So I would ride my bike to work back and forth from where I lived with my parents.
Yeah.
Back and forth. I had this nice bike. And this is also back in the day where LimeWire was up and available and MP3 players started becoming like
I love LimeWire, dude.
Yeah. And I would ride my bike to and back and forth from work listening to this awesome playlist I made.
Was this back still when CDs were a thing, or is this like an iPod Nano?
No, dude, this was back when
Discman days.
No, just past that. So
the little shuffles?
So iPods started coming out with iPods, right?
Yeah.
And everyone was like, dude, that's crazy that you can put that many songs. Like, dude, you can get 120 songs on this iPod. That's nuts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is also the time when like the Asian market was coming out with like off-brand ones. Like
shout out Asian market.
Yeah, saw, dude. No, they were making like, Motorola and other companies and Samsung are trying to make MP3 players to compete, obviously. So I'd had this tiny little MP3 player that was like that big. Mm-hmm. You couldn't do anything with it other than change songs or playlists.
Yeah.
That's it.
I miss those times.
Yeah. It was so simple, right?
Yeah.
I would download a playlist and then I would just At the time, I didn't even know what a playlist was, dude. I was like, what's a playlist, bro? That's pissing me off. I can't understand what that is. You're using big words right now? I feel like I'm taking insultingly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
What's a playlist? No, so I figured out that like you can just put all your favorite songs on
whatever songs
one
you want.
little thing that you want to play the whole time. So I had like 15 songs because that's all I could take, right? And I would use that for the whole summer. But that was my jam, dude. That was my routine. I'd have these 15 or 16 songs that I could use on my little MP3 player, and I'd ride my bike back and forth to work.
There's so many things that you just said that just was like nostalgia, dude.
Isn't it dumb?
Dude,
how fast technology and everything moves.
I know, it's crazy. I literally missed like I think I missed every single like movement that happened. Like Razor scooters, remember when that was a thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like the last one to have it. And that happened with like everything. But the one time that I got it was with iPod. So iPod Nano, the like miniature one that came out.
Well, hold on.
Not the big one.
Okay, so iPod, throughout the years before the iPhone, they had all kinds of things going on. So you got to be real specific here, or at least remember the best you can, because they had like shuffles. You remember shuffles?
Yeah, I remember the shuffles. It wasn't that one.
Okay, they had Nanos, which were like iPods, but they were tall and skinny.
That one.
Okay.
Yeah, so iPod Nano.
The actual iPod.
Actual iPod Nano. It was 2005. And I remember like I was in like football like 2-a-days, like right before school started. And I got the iPod Nano, and I was like, damn, I was like the first one in the school to have it. It was just
white headphones.
Volume.
White headphones.
Yes, the white headphones.
What's up, dude?
And coming from you remember the ones that used to wrap around your neck?
Yep.
Yes, when you had the Discman.
Yes.
Those were the days, but. Yes. Discman. But yeah, I was the first one to have the iPod Nano in my school that I remember. And dude, that was just so fun. I love music. Like I love music.
Yeah, same.
So I used to just download music all the time. I would, in high school, like freshman year, 8th grade going into freshman year, download music, ride my bike. I was like huge into BMX, which is super weird, and like skateboarding and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I would just listen to all kinds of music too. It wasn't like dedicated to a certain genre, just everything.
So you want to talk about nostalgia and Discmans? Do you remember burning CDs?
Yes. Dude, I remember buying those blank CDs. The stacks of CDs.
Dude, I remember shopping for them.
Yes.
And being like, oh, okay, this is 30 CDs, 30 blank CDs, but they can only hold like 5 songs a piece.
Yeah.
Like,
remember you had to look at the back to see how much blue you had?
Yes. Yes.
Dude, that's
You're
so
like,
awesome.
I think I could fit like 2 more tracks on here.
Yeah. Dude, I was so dumb with that. Like my wife still has burnt CDs. I was like bad about saving things, but she had them like these are the songs that are on there. Mine would be like,
she would write the whole
cool
song
shit. Pre-workout. Like I would just have the worst stuff on there, and I would never remember.
So my brother gave me his Discman. Okay.
Yes.
He started going in the iPod route.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in middle school, I wrestled, right?
Yeah.
And my brother had burnt me a CD, and he gave me his Discman, dude. So like this was like my religion at that point.
Yes.
Because it came from my brother.
Yep.
So I was like, all right, I got a Discman. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's the anti-skip kind. Yes.
Oh, even better, dude.
And it's a custom burnt CD. Yeah.
Sick.
And it was called Wrestling Warm-Up. That's what the title of the CD was, dude.
That's so good,
There was no, like you're talking about, he didn't write the track list down on it. It was just like wrestling stuff, dude, like wrestling warm-ups.
Yeah.
And it was like 8 tracks. And I would listen to it before every match. At least like 3 or 4 tracks of it every time. And I'd jump around because like that's why I was like, anti-skip, dude. I'm a wrestler. Like I'm jumping around, getting warmed up before matches. Like it's not going to skip when I go, You know what I mean?
Dude, that's so funny.
It was awesome. It was great.
Do you remember like any song that was on there? Because like one's coming to my head.
Okay, so 2. One was 2 that I remember for sure. There were several others, but 2 that stand out was Y'all Want a Single by Korn.
Nice.
And Stupefied,
Disturbed, dude.
Disturbed. Yes.
Yes. That was actually the first. Speaking of CDs, Stupefied and Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish, hot dog flavored water.
Yes,
hot dog flavored water. Thank you. Yeah, those were the two first explicit CDs I got in like I think it was 2000. And my dad bought them for me, and I was like, "Oh man, this is so sick, dude!"
Yeah.
And Disturbed and Linkin Park. I swear, I listened to those every single day walking to school.
Yeah, there was Linkin Park's song on that playlist. I can't remember the name of the song, but I know there was Linkin Park song.
It doesn't even matter.
No, it wasn't that song.
Not that one.
No, it wasn't that. But I know there was a Linkin Park song, and there was a couple other ones. But you talk about explicit CDs when you're a kid, man. That was like a whole nother level of like trying to hide from your parents type thing.
Yeah.
Right?
You remember the Kid Rock one?
There was a Kid Rock one.
It had a middle finger on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then Blink-182 had the Hot Nurse.
Yeah. The Hot Nurse. Yeah, with the pink gloves. Or something like that.
They were red lips. Yeah.
There
she
we
was
go.
putting the glove on.
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other one that I listened to was the Bloodhound Gang, dude.
Really?
Yeah. My brother had it, man, and
that's sick.
Snuck it. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I stole it from my brother one time when I was like probably 11 or 12, dude. And I'm like, dude, shock. I'm like, yeah, this music's good.
Yeah, you don't even understand it, and you're just like singing it.
Yeah, you're like a couple of them. You're like, oh, that sounds kind of weird because you're not old enough to understand, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, but this is really good music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I remember thinking that too. With that, that hot dog flavored water, Limp Bizkit. He had that song on there that said like, dude, I listened to that walking to school, and I think I skipped that because I was like, whoa, that's a little too intense for me, dude. But when you're a kid, dude, everything's like, different.
It is. It's way different. It's definitely how old you are and all that stuff. But
there's a difference between how we grew up then, and obviously we were in that generation where we had the old stuff. Like we were born before technology, and then we were there for the beepers and the Nokias and all that stuff.
Right.
And now everyone now is just born into this generation of, it's just everything is at their hands. Everything's at their fingers, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I kind of disagree on that just a little bit in the fact that we were born into technology, or at least we were raised with it, but it's advanced so fast.
Yeah. But we knew before what it was like before.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what I mean, though, is that like in our upbringings and in our childhoods and all that stuff, technology was kind of progressing, and then all of a sudden it hit like the turbo mode, bro.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, bam, in your face. There's so much new stuff. There's so much.
Well, I remember when internet was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that? Like,
absolutely.
The snake game and the pinball game?
Dude, Minesweeper, bro.
Yeah, Minesweeper, all those games, like, and you used to just get on and just play that game.
Yeah.
And it was just in the start games, and that was it on the computer, dude.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's all you needed the computer for, too, because you're sitting there.
Yeah, and now, like, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds are downloaded TikTok, and it's just like everything is there.
I know.
And,
it's wild.
It's I'm glad, but at the same time, it's like I'm also glad that I was born just a little bit before it, so I can appreciate what was before.
Because think about this. Think about iPhones, man.
Yeah.
Now it's just a new iteration of iPhone, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Back in the day, they didn't have that. That wasn't a thing. You had all these companies that sold all these different phones and like different versions of them, or like you had one brand that sold 5 different types of phones.
Yeah.
Right? That's just kind of how it was. And now we're in this type of environment, technology wise, where I don't think it's necessarily progressing as much as far as it's just like new versions of things. And so, there's like in the US where we are, there's Android and there's Apple, and that's really it. Pick one or the other. And then on the Android side of things, it's kind of similar to the fact where they're like, oh yeah, Samsung makes the Note, and they make the Galaxy, and they make a couple other phones, and that's kind of how it used to be. But then you got Apple, and Apple's like, oh yeah, we have the iPhone 10,
iPhone 10,
we have the iPhone
12,
11,
13,
and now we're planning on the release of 14, and it's like, dude, I'm at 12, and I bought it fucking 3 months ago. Man.
I hate that.
What's going on here? Right. So I think there's just a big difference, right? I think a lot of that is just technology just boosting it so far advanced that it's hard to keep up with. Can't keep up with it.
So I was curious how you feel about entrepreneurship.
That's a good question, man. It's a loaded topic, so I'll try to answer that as best I can. I think everyone should have some kind of entrepreneurship about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe in that term, you need to be able to be striving for progression as far as self or, professional, whatever. I think that people should always be striving to figure out how to make themselves better, how to make people around them better, right? And so when I tackle anything or when I carry myself, I try to find things that can help me and also be able to allow other people to be along for the ride of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I like to do fun things. I'm a good time guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a party guy. I like having fun all the time. And so I want people to do that with me. I'm not necessarily a lone wolf by any means, but there's obviously definitely parts of me that are private and I like to do alone.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's all I want or need, but I'm just saying that like there's certain things about what I do and what I like that is a collective. And I want to inspire people and I want people to tag along for the journey if I have to helm it. Or if someone else has something along the lines that I agree with enough or that I want to be part of, I'll tag along. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
kind of like we were talking about earlier about being a follower type thing. I have no problem being a follower when it comes to certain things.
Certain things, yeah.
Right. And so if someone has this big thing that they're if you're talking about entrepreneurship and they're like, hey dude, I'm starting this big project and I want you to be a part of this. If it's something that I think is like awesome, I will be on board. And I think sometimes people got to be sold on that. Or if not, they just might need to be convinced, just be like, oh, you just, come along and see, get a taste for it if you like it, or if not, then, no obligation.
Yeah.
So just to answer your question, dude, it's just, I think that entrepreneurship is definitely important. I think the world needs them for sure.
Yeah.
If I can reach as many people as possible, that's great. Viewership is fantastic. A lot of channels always hound on that, like and subscribe type thing.
Yeah.
I won't ever do that on my channel because I've made a couple of promotional videos for this, right? By just saying, hey, I want interaction. I want people to say, hey, do a review on this beer, or we would like you guys to drink this beer on this podcast. And that's fine. And I don't mind that. And I don't mind fan interaction at all. But I think that the whole, like you're talking about, when you're talking about YouTube, there's like a template that people really use. In almost every video that almost every major YouTuber makes, they either start it, end it, or at some point they're like, smash that subscribe button,
subscribe.
like the video, right? They always do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't stand it. Not only because...
I'm the same way, and I watch a lot of YouTube.
Right, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I do too. I don't like it because not only does everyone use it, but at the same time, it's like, don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just have that irk.
I know. It's like when people tell me, it's like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to, but
but now no.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's just kind of how it is. And I'm doing this as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it. This is a good time. The other thing about it is that you're right in the fact that YouTube is the future. And this is kind of going to go a little bit deep here. Okay. So, cable network television has had its, long enduring.
Yeah. It's almost like
reign of kingdomship, right? But I think on YouTube, you're starting to see people that are drawing more viewership than cable television for more news outlet type things. For almost more than anything, right? And the way that YouTube has it platformed right now is kind of very competitive with cable networks.
I agree.
You've got guys that can get upwards of 500,000 people to watch them on a live stream. And that's crazy.
It is.
You just got some guy being like, hey, we're going live at this time, so tune in. And so when their time comes to air, right, they're going live. That's airing.
Yeah.
When they go air and they have 500,000 people watching them, that's insane, man.
And it's so many different genres.
Yeah, and it's just on the internet. You're right.
It's like fishing.
Man.
There's one guy that just does like, pranks with his friends. There's another guy that just like gives money to people.
Yeah,
and people are just love it.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if that's like a psychological thing. And they're just doing that based on like, hey, I know what people like and I'm going to get them with that. Or if it's just like a hobby thing. Like, I like golf and I'll pull up golf on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy to me.
Well, it is crazy, and you kind of hit it a little bit there as far as that, like, whenever you want to learn information about something, it almost always leads you to YouTube. Almost every time, on almost anything you need, almost anything.
So many things I've learned.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost feel weird saying it, but it's YouTube. I mean, there's so many tutorial videos.
Yep.
There's a freaking how to tie a tie video, dude.
Oh, there's probably 4,000.
Yes.
How to tie a tie videos.
And there's people that actually are very smart, and they'll do like, so when we had a dog, there would be like dog white noise videos, and everyone gets paid based on how long they watch the video. So if they're watching a dog white noise video, chances are they're leaving that video on for like 8 hours,
right?
And those guys are getting a lot of views, and they're just leaving it on through all the ads, everything, and they're getting paid for that. That's so smart. Even just regular white noise videos for like sleeping.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's just insane. It's like an unlimited market.
Yeah, I mean, I have a kid, and sometimes I go to YouTube and I'll put on shout out to aquarium videos, dude. But
yes,
I'll put on aquarium
videos. And Baby
like,
Einstein, dude.
Yeah, fish. Like, dude, my baby loves fish.
Yes,
she loves to see fish in the ocean. You know, and so like I'll put on like I'll search for underwater reef on YouTube, and it'll bring up a 14-hour video.
Yeah.
14-hour video of
it's crazy.
Fish in like coral reefs.
Yeah.
Now I found out using it enough now with my kid that it cycles through like a 56-minute loop several times, right?
And then just keeps repeating.
Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah.
But how does someone upload a 14-hour video on YouTube, man? Like, that's nuts.
You know what's even crazier? There's a person on YouTube that tells you how to upload YouTube videos that will get you subscribers to watch the videos.
Really?
And it's just as simple as literally like, the reef thing. Hey, go on this specific website so you don't get, hit with any like, advertising or fraud or whatever the case may be, and upload this video and people will just watch it. And depending on who you know or what you look up, these keywords can get you and people to watch the video, and then you're just watching it on the loop, like you just said.
And it's almost like algorithms are more important than anything, right?
It's so weird.
When people search things, the service provider of whatever you're searching on is providing you with the results of what you're searching for, right?
Yeah.
So if you're searching for anything on Google, YouTube, it's going to pop up what it's going to pop up.
Yeah.
And you as a producer of something, a producer of a product, you can pay enough or whatever you want to do. You can have the ability to try to, up your chances to be on the top of that list of the search, right? So if someone searches butterflies, right? Someone types in butterflies on YouTube. Whoever typically has the highest views and the highest amount of money paid into the
number one video
algorithm is going to be right at the top, right? And that's just how it is, and that's fine. But then there's other people that are going to be closer to the top because they've paid enough money to be there, right?
Yeah.
So you could type in butterflies, and you want butterflies, the insect, but then you could have a person that is so wealthy enough they'd be like, this is butter fries, dude.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a cooking channel of butter and fries.
And there's always that video that's like
what I mean?
10 million views, and the one under it, like second, like 5,000 views. Clearly the guy that paid a lot of money for it.
Exactly.
And then the original. Yeah. It's just a crazy world we live in right now, dude.
So if you have algorithms on your side, man, I mean, the sky's the limit, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is, but that's fine. Like I said, but, talking about entrepreneurship, do you have anything going on for yourself? Like, do you do anything that, you know, your hobbies or anything on your free time that you try to produce?
To be honest, I'm always looking for stuff, but it's a difference between, you know, having ideas and actually following through with the ideas. So I don't like to, you know, label myself as the idea man, but I do come up with like a lot of ideas that I think would be, you know, successful.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one thing or the other. It's either having the money to do it, you know, the time, all that stuff. But my goal is to have 5 sources of income, you know, in the next 5 years. And we'll see what happens. But I think a lot of people are kind of, you know, leaning towards that because of the internet. You know, there's kids right now that are under the age of 18 that are having their parents invest money into stocks for them because stocks are the big thing that they're seeing on YouTube right now.
Right.
Like cryptocurrency, crypto, everything, right? Dude.
Yeah.
And these kids are like, you know, I bag on this, you know, newer type of generation that grew up with the internet, but at the same time, there are a lot of smart individuals. I mean, they're, you know, thinking about stocks. Like, I wish I would have thought about that when I was younger.
Yeah.
Like, invest my money in places I go a lot, places I spend money at a lot. Like, if you would have spent, you know, if you were buying Apple products, you know, back in the day when Apple first started to get popping, I mean, you could be worth a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
Same with Tesla, Bitcoin, all that stuff. But it's just interesting, you know, how easy it is to just search this stuff. And these kids, it's like an instant gratification thing, but they're essentially doing it the right way because they're Googling, how can I make money right now? And, you know, they're coming up with all these lists, and it's crazy to me, but I'm slowly starting to get to that point where I'd like to, you know, pursue one of these ideas that I've been, you know, writing down in my book. So
yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, the other thing is too, is that it's really hard. I don't think people understand that it's really hard to get something that makes money for you. Right.
Yeah.
And the old adage of you got to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
That can be true. Right. And typically it definitely is. If you invest in something, that's what that saying really means, is that invest in something.
Yeah.
Right. Spend your money up, you know, front to cost to something to see if it will give you a return. Spend money, make money. Right. And I think that's kind of what I'll say this. I relate to that goal because myself and my family, my wife, we want that same thing. Mm. We want to figure out how we can get multiple sources of revenue to make sure that, like, not only can we get to a point to where we don't have to work as hard anymore, or we don't have to devote as much of our free time anymore, that it becomes, you know, what we want to do and what we love to do. So we don't have to put a lot of effort into it, and or it's so easy to put effort into it because we like to do it.
Yeah.
And it's a hard medium to find.
Yeah. Balance is always hard to find.
It's hard because, you know, the old adage of, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's an easy saying to say to anyone, but you could go your whole life and not even find that. Right?
I know.
And so it's like, that's a great saying, great advice, thank you. But guess what? I still haven't found out what I love right now. Like, I still don't know what I love.
Yeah, that's a cool bumper sticker on a car, but not like...
Cool catchphrase, man. But
I think, you know...
the real world doesn't work that way.
Exactly. But you talked about this podcast more of just like something that you like doing, more like a hobby that you like. And I think actually now I do want 5 sources of income, but also at the same time, it's also good to find things that, you know, just make you happy. So if I was able to find that balance of, you know, the income, but also doing something that makes me happy,
Yeah.
that could maybe evolve into an income at some point. Like this could evolve into something, and we don't even know right now, right? We're still in like the beginning stage. You were still in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's something that you'd like to do. And I think finding that balance of like, you know, something that makes me happy, but also at the same time, you know, paying a little bit more money into something that might have a return on investment of some sort in the future. But I think this is actually important, almost just as important as finding that as well.
Well, I appreciate that. And the thing is too, is that sometimes you got to put money into something that you know you'll never get anything out of.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to. And I think the banks and corporations take advantage of that. And the fact that, I mean, that like they sell you on things that you think you need.
Yeah.
And you frivolously buy, or you just don't care, and you just like, oh, whatever. It's a regular purchase, it's a normal budgeted service I have to pay for. So I think about right now off the top of my head, man, I could think of a ton of things that I spend money on that I don't need to spend money on.
Yeah.
But I do
that.
because of convenience, right?
Yep.
A lot of it is convenience. A lot of it.
DoorDash.
Yeah. I mean, you think about that kind of stuff, man. You're like, dude, if I really buckled down, I could be saving myself hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, though, is that like people like us that are, you know, middle class or whatever you want to consider us to be, as far as
higher middle class,
whatever you want to consider us to be, we have to figure out like, okay, there are some things that I know aren't going to make me money, but I want to pursue anyway because it's what I like, or it's what I want to do, or it's just money. You can't take it with you. You know what I mean?
I started recently living by that too. My dad always said that to me. And I think, you know, gratefully enough, we're at a point where we can, you know, indulge in that, you know, like I want to get that because that seems fun right now.
Yeah.
And that is really nice to have, but
you want to talk about privilege, dude. That's the ultimate.
I know, right?
Ultimate privilege right there, man.
Yeah, when you think about other countries, it's like crazy.
Well, you think about anything. You think about other countries, you think about any other time in the world.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, where we are now with our government and our society and our culture, when has it ever been like just cool to be like, I could pretty much pursue whatever I want and get it?
Yeah,
right?
I can literally order a fucking potato on Amazon and that'll be at my house in like 3 days with Prime.
Oh, you could probably pay like an extra $4 for overnight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, dude, I want a potato tomorrow night. I want it now. But vehicles, anything really, man. Like we were talking about earlier, it's just that way. And a part of me is the same like you're talking about. It's only money. You can't take it with you. Now, you obviously had when I hear that type of saying, I receive that as taking it with a grain of salt, right? Because obviously you can't do stupid shit that is going to get you in trouble or get your family in trouble. Right?
Yeah.
Obviously no one wants that. But at the same time, it's like, dude, if you're just going to sit there and try to penny pinch all the time and you want to be happy at like 48 years old, that's not worth it to me because I'm the age I'm at now and I want to enjoy the age I'm at now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dump a little bit of extra money into things that make me happy.
Well, that's actually something I enjoy. So, you know, what I was saying before was, you know, we have that opportunity to kind of, you know, we can't do whatever we want with our money, but we can have fun. And that whole like, you know, you can't take the money with you thing. I started living by that pretty recently and it's been fun, dude. Like, you know, just if you have the opportunity to do something, just do it. And I think a lot of people don't do things only because of hesitation. And I feel like hesitation causes a lot of issues, but yeah, I mean, you know, you're definitely the guy that pulls the trigger on a lot of things. And, I envy that. And you know, as I said before, I'm starting to live by that now, and it's been fun, dude. Just like kind of just doing what I want to do.
Yeah, and Thank you again, man. I appreciate that. But the thing is that the thing that makes me most angry about it is that back in the day, probably you would know this. The expression came out of YOLO, right?
Oh God.
And it was an acronym for you only live once.
Yeah.
Right. The thing is, if you put that in the right context, it's actually a fantastic way to live.
It really is. I just wish it wasn't called YOLO.
Not only that, right, but how it was sold and publicized and marketed,
with
it was
fucking
terrible.
Horrible hats and everything.
Yeah, right. Terrible. But if you kind of break it down, you're like, okay, yeah, you do only live once. And what are you going to show for it?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to show the fact that you just worked a mediocre job for your whole life just to make sure that like you could pay your bills? Or are you going to show the fact that you took risks and you got burned for it and you failed, but at least you had that by your name that you took risks? Or are you going to be the guy that was a POS and no one followed you because you went down a dark road? Or is it going to be you took calculated risks and you got to where you wanted to be, even though you didn't amount to a ton of money, but there you are, you're well off. Like, yeah, YOLO, if you apply it, you only live once. If you apply it to your life and you say, okay, yeah, you're right, I do only live once. What kind of risks am I going to take to make sure that, like, if I die tomorrow, what do I leave behind? Yeah. What do I leave behind? And what is my legacy? What are people going to think of me as far as, like, did he just kind of hang around, or is like he's a family man? It's
a scary thought too. Is I heard someone talking the other day and they said, I'm going to retire soon and I'm going to get my retirement at 65. And, that's only 10 years away by the time I retire. So I'll be pretty good. And I was like, holy shit. Like, what if you die tomorrow? Like, you're not even going to make it to retirement. Yeah. You're not even going to be able to enjoy that money.
And when you're 65, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah, seriously. That's just fucking crazy. And then the crazier thought is that people literally work, and, it sucks that we even have to live that way, that some people have to live that way. But people literally work until they die. Like, there's no point of enjoyment or anything. They just literally go to work because they have to go to work to live. Yeah. And that's fucking crazy, dude.
That sucks, man. And there are people that are in that situation.
And that's terrible. That's why I'm lucky enough to have a job that I could retire at 20 at somewhat of a young age. And also why I'm like thriving to make sure I have multiple sources of income, and that I'm kind of just taking these opportunities to just do what I want. Right. Like, I don't want to be that person that retires at 50 and doesn't get to collect their paycheck until 65.
Well, not only that, but it's like, what are you going to do at 50? Like, yeah, that's the other thing. When you apply YOLO, when you're 50 years old and you're like, oh, I've got $100,000 and I want to go do these things, and you realize that you're 50 years old.
Yeah, what are you going to
do it like you could have done when you were 28, 27 years old. Yeah. And you're like, oh, man. Well, I'm 50 and I got all this money now, and I'm like, can't touch my retirement still. I'm kind of where I want to be, but I got nothing. Like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Right. And the other part of that is everyone is trying to figure out how to make themselves happy. Right. And people get stuck at work, working their lives away. And it sucks.
It does.
But I think that, as far as I can see it, with kids our age, people in our generation, and our parents that have really done that, they've kind of provided that for us to be able to be like, we're having fun now. We're having fun in our mid-20s. We're having fun at our 30s, because they busted their ass for however long. But that almost seems like a trap, right? To where a company or the government says, hey, yeah, you work this long, here's your reward. Yeah. And you're like, okay, well, I have to work for fucking 45 years before I can get any kind of reward for this? That's bullshit. Yeah. That's bullshit. Man, I wish I would have spent my youth better.
Speaking of all these things, what is a bucket list item that you want to do?
Oh, that's a good question, man, because I just had this conversation at my work the other day. And the one thing that like I want to do before I die, or I want to have the opportunity to do before I die.
YOLO. I'll tell you mine.
Well, I have mine, but it's absurd. I shouldn't say it's absurd, but it's kind of intricate.
Volcano luge, dude? How absurd is it?
Dude. The thing I have in my mind of what I wanted, like a bucket list thing for me, is traveling all 50 states of America in a big, fancy $100 million tour bus with all the people I love and visiting every state during the times that they have their biggest festivals going on.
Damn.
That's my bucket list.
That's like deep but cool at the same time.
Well, dude, I mean, like, if you think about it, if I won the lottery right now and I got like $810 million.
Yeah. $810 million.
Yeah, that's right. Just throwing that number out. But like, I would buy like a $3 million freaking tour bus.
Yeah.
Like, just this big motor coach thing that can, provide all the things you would need on the road. And I would take that thing through all 50 states. I would freaking charter a damn plane to fly it to Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'd drive through Canada to go to Alaska and literally freaking do that with like 8-10 people and just experience everything.
That's sick, dude. That definitely shows how selfless you are. Because now I don't even want to say my fucking ideas because they're all selfish,
you
dude.
Might as well do it.
I want to go skydiving.
Bucket list, skydive, dude.
I wish I didn't have like cliche things, but I do have cliche things. But that would be a crazy thought, if everyone did their bucket list items like every day,
Well, it was like that movie Bruce Almighty, dude, with Jim Carrey, where he just starts saying yes to everything.
Yes.
That was hilarious, right? That's funny.
Yeah.
That is a good time. That's a great movie, man.
It is good. I fucking love that movie.
It's
I
awesome.
could probably quote that whole movie, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can only
that and Yes Man.
lines.
It's almost like the same thing, but
Yes Man's good.
Yeah.
Yes Man's good. But I love Bruce Almighty, man. When he got in that McLaren and he freaking cleared the streets.
Yeah.
And shot down.
Something that everyone can relate to.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then he actually pulls the moon closer, right, physically. And they're like, tidal waves have sunk in Japan. And he's like, ooh.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, tell me a little bit of a bucket list item, dude. Like, give me a bucket list.
Dude, I said that skydiving thing is a joke, but I actually really want to do that.
You can do that right now.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm more curious about the feelings than I am the actual experience. Like, I'm curious about, like, okay, going through the class, getting up in the bird.
Oh, you wanted to do it solo, right? Like, no tandem? Like, fuck off tandem.
I think I have to do the tandem. Like, I don't know if you can, like, actually, like, request to do solo. I don't know if they would.
I thought you might have been able to if you went through enough training.
I think it's, like, a certain amount of jumps.
Or do you have to do, like, 3 jumps with the tandem and then finally you can do one on your own?
Yeah, because I feel like that would be, like... I actually don't know. I'll have to look into that. But I thought you had to do like a certain amount of jumps, but that is something I want to do. And I'm more curious like how I'm going to feel like right before the jump. Like, okay, they're doing the countdown and it's like, okay, you're about to go. And then that first initial hit of like the wind and then you just seeing the ground and then just like you have no control. Right. And I think that's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Oh, so you're kind of searching for that experience in that cathartic feeling of like,
yeah, just like feeling like nothing.
Yeah.
And like it's one of those weird things. I was talking to this guy about it and like I feel like I don't mind heights. Like I love being up high, but there's always still that little fear factor. Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's, with everyone except that dude that climbed El Cap that just has like no fear.
Yeah.
But like I like rappelling and stuff. I like being up high, but I don't know how I would feel about that initial hit of just like, you're floating in the air
above the earth.
Yeah, and your chute like might come out.
You're above the earth. You're not talking about height height scarcity, right? You're talking about like you're above the earth, not like 20-foot ladder.
Just a straight up free fall, and the chute may come out. I mean, there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
But that's definitely something that I would love to do. Have you gone skydiving?
I never have, actually, to be honest. I never have done it.
Do you want to do it? Is that something that you've ever wanted to do?
Yeah, I guess it's...
I feel like everyone goes through that.
Well, I've been invited to it a couple times, and I've not been able to do it for some reasons. I haven't been able to go. And I'm not saying that I'm scared of it. I wouldn't turn it down. And I guess the only thing that stopped me right now is just coordination of being able to get like time off from my job and be able to do it. So I would definitely do it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I want to experience it.
Should we do a beers with Bud skydive?
We might have to.
Dude.
We might have to. We might have to do it, dude. And that'd be all right with me, to be honest, because I'd like to do it. But speaking of fears, though, can I ask you, what is your number one fear in the world? Or what are you most scared of?
So I think when I was younger, I had like, the same fears as everyone, like spiders and snakes. But now I'm fucking scared of death, dude.
Really?
When you think about
scared of dying?
When you think about it, like it's inevitable, right? Death is inevitable, obviously. But when you actually like really put a microscope on it, and like you could die at any fucking time. Anytime. Driving home, you could fucking die anywhere you go.
Brain aneurysm right now.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's just a scary thought because like, especially when you get to a time where you're like, oh, things are going fucking great right now. And it's like, well, what if I die tomorrow? It's like, I want to miss out on all of that shit.
Yeah.
And it's just that, when I thought about it when I'm older, that's something that I didn't really think about or care about when I was a kid. I was like, fuck it. I'm living in the moment right now. But as you get older, you acquire things, your family gets bigger. And then now you're thinking like, well, fuck, I just want to make it to this point so I can enjoy, all of that experience. Because like thinking about like, if you have a daughter, thinking about your daughter not being there, you not being there for your daughter for her wedding, something like that.
Yeah.
I think as you get older and things that you experience, you start thinking about things differently compared to where you were. And I thought I was pretty like, pretty well versed and like, had the world by the balls. And then you get hit with a life experience or a life change, having a kid and all that stuff. And you just start thinking about things differently, dude.
Oh, for sure. I can relate.
Yeah.
And that's a good perspective on it for sure. And like my thing is that I definitely don't want to have anything bad happen to my family. I obviously don't want to leave my family helpless or without me or without any kind of like guidance, right? But the thing that scares me the most is the ocean.
Fuck. My wife has that same fear.
And you know what? I live in Colorado. We live in Colorado, and that's fine by me. And I would love the fact that we live in Colorado because other than like the standard feelings of being like, yeah, I fear the most of like leaving my family alone without me and all those things that come with that, because obviously that's just like my nature and people like us that think that way. We don't want to leave our loved ones without anything or without guidance. But my fear, like what I'm scared of, is the ocean, bro. That I'm not scared of heights that we're talking about. I'm not scared of heights. I'm not scared of burning buildings. I'm not scared of almost anything else in the world, but the ocean.
Just not fucking scared.
No, ocean terrifies me.
Have you been in the ocean?
Oh yeah, I have been.
Do you enjoy going in the ocean, like at like knee high level?
Dude, kind of paradoxical here. I have been in the ocean several times. I've been in several beaches, several coastal fronts, islands, countries. I've snorkeled a lot of good reefs, but the ocean absolutely terrifies me, man. It it terrifies me. And I've been to some of the most exclusive reefs you could snorkel, and some of the worst
Subtle
waters.
flex.
some of the worst waters you can't even see your ankles in, right? And every time I'm just like, dude, I just want to get out of here. But when you're in it, there's some kind of like weird force that's like when you can see these amazing things, you go, man, I'm gonna try to take in all this beauty, right? I'm taking in all this experience that I have being at the ocean and all this stuff. But at the same time, there's this gut feeling in me that I'm like, dude, the ocean, you can keep it, bro. Like, I don't want it.
I don't mind.
I'll stay in Colorado, dude, and I'll never have to snorkel a day in my life. I'm all good with it.
I don't mind the ocean as long as it's like, waist deep. But I mean, if you're talking about like stories of people being stranded in the ocean,
ooh,
my God,
terrible.
Like guys just with a raft, if that.
Well, a lot of those terrible stories that you're talking about, a lot of them were from World War II, man.
Yeah.
And that's horrible.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of history channel documentaries and stuff about guys in the Pacific and stuff that got stranded at sea with just a life raft. And you're like, dude, those dudes, the guys that lived out of that, they're hard men.
That's absolutely insane. And I think same goes for like very cold climates. Like surviving in the cold is,
I don't do well with cold.
Yeah. And I've done like cold weather training, to an extent. But when you think about people that are actually having to do shit like in the very, very cold, like being cold sucks.
It's the worst.
Frostbite, all that stuff. And imagine just like surviving in that. I think that and the ocean are both probably the worst deaths that you can have.
Yeah. Well, dude, honestly, the movie The Titanic, it was messed up to watch when I watched it when I was a kid, right? Like
Jack.
When I watched it, I wasn't really considering it necessarily like a romance story or anything. I would like when the scene happened when they hit the iceberg. I was like, dude, that's crazy. People are just drowning and being frozen to death in the middle of the ocean. Like when I was a kid, I was noticing that.
Yeah,
A kid, but when that movie came out, I was like, dude, that's messed up. Thousands of people died in the ocean, freezing to death or, drowning or not being able to make it to a life raft. That's insane to me. And that freaked me out. That's kind of one of the first steps.
I was going to say the Titanic, but I wasn't sure if like that would be weird or not.
No, it's not weird, dude. Like that crash scene that they created in that movie was fantastic. And as far as like really bringing
that would be the worst
drama to the screen. Yeah. Yeah. Horrible, man.
Like I'm actually weirded out by cruise ships now because of that.
I've never been on a cruise. Have you?
When I was younger, yeah, I don't really remember it, but like my wife and family, want to go on cruises, but I always had that weird fear, especially because I think something happened recently, like on like a Carnival ship or something. But yeah, just the fear when you're in the ocean and you're just looking out, and the only thing you could see in the ocean, dude, no, not for me.
Yeah,
that's why I could never like do anything like the Navy or anything like that.
Yeah. Dude, I have an irrational feel over cruises myself.
Are you a good swimmer though?
I'm decent enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't drown. I know how to swim, but at the same time.
Can you tread water?
Yeah, for sure. I can. I really can.
Interesting.
It's just, dude, the ocean is Mother Nature's like.
Yeah. Anything can happen.
Untouchable, right?
Yeah.
The ocean is untouchable from Mother Nature, and of all the things I've known about it and learned about it and been able to like just see from it in a personal experience, I think it's one of the most fantastic things on the earth, and also
scariest.
It's like, yeah, absolutely. It's like those guys that talk about Shark Week, where they're like, sharks aren't terrible, we just have to learn to respect them type thing. Yeah. That's how I feel about the ocean in general, right? Because the ocean in general is the same type of way. It's dangerous. There's all kinds of crazy things that live in it. You got to take care of it, right? You got to ensure that you're not being a turd and like just, acting like a dick, whatever. But at the same time, it's like you have to respect it, but my fear of it is what makes me respect it, right?
Yeah.
I'm so scared of it, and I'm so scared of all the things that live in it that I respect it so much that I'm like, yeah, okay, the ocean's important, and like, but at the same time, you stay in the ocean, I'm gonna stay here in Colorado. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazier about the ocean? I remember we were on a like ski-doo in the ocean in New York. And there's like ships like going by, dude. And when you're like that small and something that big like pulls up next to you, which happens pretty often, and not only the waves that come off of it, but just like looking up at something that big and then on top of it you're in the ocean is like a very trippy feeling. I did not like that at all.
So this is going to be a weird correlation, but did you know there's a scene in that movie Hitch that they kind of do that same type of thing? Will Smith and Eva Mendes go to the Statue of Liberty on a jet ski.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that as a kid and being like, holy, like that's weird, dude, because I feel like the northeastern waters are cold. And typically cold ocean water equates sharks.
I don't know if there's any sharks down there.
I'm not willing to risk it. I don't want to be a part of that. Like, good for them, dude. Like, yeah, ski to the Statue of Liberty, dude. Like, you're on your own. I wouldn't do it. So I'm your story about seeing like shipping, boats or what are they called?
I mean, there were
freights that just come through these bays of New York that are stacked high of Connex boxes and stuff. That's what reminded me of that.
If you ever go to New York, the cheapest way to kind of see a lot of things, and you might hate it and you might not, but are ferries. So the ferries now are not like what they were. It's almost like a big ass speedboat, and you can literally see like everything. If you go to like the farthest ferry and then go to the city, it's just crazy, all the stuff you could see, Statue of Liberty, the city, all that stuff.
So when you're talking about ferries, are they the big ones that like you can drive a car on?
It's not like that, like how they portray it in movies now. Like the most you could bring on there is like a bicycle.
So would it be as accurate as like the Dark Knight?
It almost looks like a yacht, honestly.
Okay.
Like now they look like a yacht, and they have like an app now where you can get like this ferry update to
it's
where like when's
Uber
the ferry
for
yeah, seriously. So like every 5 or 10 minutes a ferry like hits a port and then it goes to another place, and it's like a water taxi. But that's like one of the cheapest ways that you can like see everything in the city, but without like paying a lot of money, because it literally costs like $5 or $10.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
It is. It's not that bad. And for someone like, I don't, I'm not to the point where like I hate the water that much. Like a ferry, I mean, they do this every day, and it's actually crazy seeing them like pull into a port, because like you're hauling ass, and then they like kill the engine, and then you just somehow like float in there. That like blows my mind.
It's captains that have been doing that for a while, man.
Yeah.
Those are experienced dudes that have been doing that for a minute.
Even like backing up a boat, in water.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I saw a minivan the other day at the lake, and this dude, you couldn't even see the tires anymore, bro. This whole minivan was in the water. It was insane.
There's a episode of Family Guy where they make fun of that, where Peter's trying to back a boat into a boat.
Yeah.
That.
He keeps fucking jackhammering it. Yeah.
They're pain in the butt, dude. But when you talk about ferries being able to like park like that, dude, you're talking about guys that have been doing that for years, right?
Yeah.
Captains of the ferry or the crew of the ferry that have been just, do that 10, 15 times a day, or however many times a day they do that. And that's kind of what makes it even worse when stories break about it, right? Like ferry strikes up here, or ferry takes off while they're mid-load. Sometimes every once in a while you see these stories about it, and it's like, that's probably user error. That's probably people trying to board on the ferry.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the ferry crew, because those guys do this for a living, right? And they get so good at it. And they're so efficient that like they know exactly how to run their routes. They know how to park in their harbors. They know how to board up. Like they're good to go. They know what they're doing. And then you got a bunch of wieners, like even guys like even probably I would be one of those, right, coming from out of town. You know, not being from New York, trying to get on a ferry, and they'd be like, "Oh, do I get on now? You know what I mean?"
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, I'm like doing the splits.
Yeah, even I was trying to play it cool, like with my wife, because like I'm from New York, but I've like barely fucking rode on a ferry, which is like, but it's like literally a taxi on the water.
We all fucking ride on it.
Yeah, seriously, just jump on.
Just get on the ferry.
But it is pretty interesting, dude. But you know, it's something funny I used to do at the bars all the time.
What's up, baby?
So no matter what bar I was at, what city I was at, anything like that, when it was like last call, and by the way, now that I'm older, I hate staying till last call because that's when like all the bad shit happens. But at last call, I would find someone that's important in the bar and I would tell them, can you play Billy Joel Piano Man to finish off the night?
Why?
It's just something that I grew up with, I guess. Like every time.
It's sing us a song, Mr. Piano Man.
Yeah. It's just a good way to cap off the night. And every time that I was with my family, mainly in New York, every time that I was with my family, they would always like request that song. They would just like yell it out. Like anyone would like, hey, anyone with a last call song? Dude, so anytime.
What about Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, dude?
That's how you start the night. You start the night with like a Neil Diamond, Sweet Caroline, and the whole fucking bar is just going crazy, dude. And same with My Friends in Low Places, that one song.
Oh, Garth Brooks, dude.
Yes.
I've got friends in low places.
Yeah, I've got friends in low places.
Yes.
And that one fucking stomp country song, I forgot what, Rattlesnake or something like that.
Copperhead Road.
Copperhead Road, yes. So you start the night with like a Neil Diamond, lean into Copperhead Road, and then you kind of make it to that other song I said. I forgot what did I just say. But yeah, always end the night with Billy Joel Piano Man.
Yeah. All right. Well, like you said, I typically don't hang around till last call. I'm on my damn self.
Except last time, there was a night that we went out and we fucking stayed till last call, and I specifically said I do not want to stay till last call. I don't think you remember that night.
Well, it happens every once in a while. But next time I do know that and I am out that late, I will definitely request that just for you.
Dude, do it.
And I'll take a video of it and I'll say, hey, this is just for you, Jesse.
Dude, half the bar will know and half the bar will be like, what the fuck? Especially now, no one's probably going to know, but
yeah,
it is a good time.
Yeah, well, I'll do it. Crap. And you know what's funny? I think I've heard it before, to be honest. Like, I think I've been at bars and like they closed that with that.
Dude, what if I was at that fucking bar?
You probably were. You probably were at that bar and you were like, hey, close it out with Piano Man.
Dude, I will grease a bouncer. I will like pay money for them to play that. One, because I just think it's hilarious that I can control what a bar plays, but it's just a good way to end the night. You know, every movie has like that outro.
The outro,
you know,
yeah.
So I just trying to make my own night, dude.
You know what's a good outro was The Kingsman, dude.
The TV show?
No, Kingsman, the movie.
Oh, I never watched that.
Oh, dude, fantastic movie. They on the second one they made that was even a fantastic outro.
Kingsman 2?
Yeah.
No shit.
I think it was called The Kingsman 2: The Golden Circle.
Return of the Kingsman.
I think you're thinking of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh yeah. No, but Kingsman made a second movie, and even the outro on that was fantastic. But the theme song of the whole movie was "Country Roads" by John Denver. Dude.
Oh yeah, Take Me Home, Country Roads, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Fucking
baby.
classic.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
What's up, baby?
So good movies though. Speaking of Kingsman, I don't know why it reminded me of it, but have you seen The Gentleman?
Yeah, that's
Dude,
good.
that movie
Very
is
good.
fucking awesome.
It's great.
And I'm not like huge into movies that like have this Pink Floyd fucking intro where it takes fucking forever to get to the actual point. But that movie was so worth it. And there's like a ton of actors in that, dude. Huge actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, so if you're talking about good movies, that movie is in line with a lot of movies that I don't think a lot of American people know of, but it's like it falls in line with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Never seen it.
Fantastic. Jason Statham's like breakout movie.
Really?
Same director, Guy Ritchie.
Really?
Swear to God. Then you move to what was the other movie he did?
Think about it.
What's the one where Brad Pitt's a boxer? He's a gypsy. He's an Irishman.
Never seen it.
Snatch. That's what I was thinking of.
Never seen that one either.
So you got Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. You got Snatch with Brad Pitt, Jason Statham. Fantastic movie.
I'm actually kind of blown away.
Guy Ritchie, right?
Yeah.
Then Guy Ritchie makes the movie King Arthur with Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah.
From Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
I actually like
Who's
that
also
movie.
in The Gentleman.
Yes, he is. He is. But I liked that movie. It really got shit on, but I liked that movie a lot. Honestly, I did. I really enjoyed it.
There's 3 movies I haven't seen. I feel like that doesn't happen often.
Yeah, and then he makes the movie The Gentleman. And in The Gentleman, if you've watched all these movies prior to that, you can really appreciate that movie because he uses similar storytelling abilities in the movie that he makes.
So it's kind of like his thing.
Yeah. So he's
almost
got this,
like,
dude, his ability to put out like exposition in movies is fantastic because he does it in all 3 of them, especially The Gentleman, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and Snatch. Those 3 movies together are fantastic. And if you watch them all 3 like in a trilogy, man, you can't beat it. You can't beat it. They're all great movies. They're fantastically casted, directed perfectly. And there's great comedy relief in it too, but it's subtle comedy relief, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Right. And you talk about movies like that, The Big Lebowski, you've seen that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Bridges,
the dude.
John Goodman. Yeah, the dude divides. Yeah. It's that type of comedy where it's like it's very subtle. And if you don't get it, you don't get it. And if you do get it and it's not funny to you, then you won't like it.
Yeah, I'm kind of weirded out by those people, dude.
Yeah, but if you get it and you think it's funny, you're like, dude, that's great.
It's almost
great
like
movie.
a dry, witty comedy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's 3 takes on it. You don't get it at all and it just flies over your head. You get it and you don't think it's funny, or you get it and you think it's hilarious. I'm the third, right? I think all of those are great. All of them.
Dude, if you can like have a dinner and drinks with like one actor, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a real good question.
I can go first if you want.
Go ahead. If you know who you're talking about, go ahead, dude.
So mine is fucking weird. Absolutely weird. But I think Paul Rudd is fucking hilarious.
That's a good one.
And he just has like this dry, witty, but he's an asshole most of the times. And I think the dude's hilarious. And I kind of put David Spade up in that too. I just think David Spade is like fucking funny, dude. Like every movie he's in, he's just got like kind of that dry, witty too. I was trying to go to a stand-up of his, but it got canceled because of the coronavirus. But those are like 2 guys that like I think it would be a fun time. And I would definitely pick up some one-liners from.
You think so, huh?
Yeah.
So speaking of those things, Paul Rudd being in, I think it was Knocked Up.
Yeah. Yeah.
When he was talking about watching Spider-Man by himself, dude, I lost it. I had to like that.
Dude, I
had
think
me rolling, bro.
Dude, he's so good. And like I know people like judge him off Ant-Man and shit, but like if you look at a lot of his movies, he's just fucking hilarious.
He was
dude.
hilarious then. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's been around probably longer than people I think expect or know.
I agree with that.
Mine's twofold too, like you're talking about. Like I have 2 main ones, right? You could talk about like modern day. I think modern day right now, mine would probably be Chris Pratt.
Yeah, just a great American, great guy.
That's kind of why, right? Is because not only do I think that like he's a good actor as it is, he's obviously a prevalent movie star right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's, everyone knows about him.
Yeah. But
also I think that like he's got a good center of being a celebrity as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I think he understands a lot of the facts of, you're a celebrity, you have this big platform, but at the same time, you're still a human being. And there's a ton of people that support your movies and pay your bills to watch you.
And he actually appreciates
perform. It. Yeah, exactly. And so like, he's one of those guys where I'm like, I think he gets it.
Yeah.
I really think he gets it.
He's got like a good moral compass too. And you can tell that like Hollywood didn't change him,
For sure. And that's my whole bit about it, right? It's like, I think I could go have dinner with him right now, one-on-one, and we could have we could have dinner and have a good time and just have a genuine conversation and just let it be at that and end it.
Yeah.
Fine. I'd be fine with that. Then my other one would be, my second one would be classical, man. It'd be more, oriented to the older film days of cowboy spaghetti westerns, man, and that'd be Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Clint Eastwood for sure. A couple of reasons why. Not only do I really love old westerns and westerns in general now, but my grandfather was a big fan of Clint Eastwood, and my grandfather actually got to meet Clint Eastwood.
Really?
Yeah, he did. And so that kind of combination of my upbringing of appreciation for westerns and then hearing stories from my grandpa about how we got to meet Clint Eastwood and watching old westerns with my grandpa kind of culminated in this whole, like, Clint Eastwood is like the OG, man.
Yeah.
You got Clint Eastwood, John Wayne. Those two dudes were the pinnacle of westerns and American cowboy film cinematography. So he's just one of those guys, man. And then when he came out later for the last couple of movies he had made, like Gran Torino, and that other one where he was the mule.
Yeah.
Right? Those movies were great, dude. I loved those. And so not only was he old enough to be able to make movies that my grandfather related to, and my grandfather got to meet him, and make great westerns, but he also started making movies into my generation and making in the time that he can make movies that I appreciated too at my age.
And still be like good and impactful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So that's twofold, man. I mean, it's really those two guys.
That's a good one. What movie is it Heartbreak Ridge? Is that what it is? When he
plays a Marine Corps, I think, sergeant major in that movie.
Yeah. Dude, that was such a great movie. Clint Eastwood is like
underrated movie.
Just the man.
Underrated movie.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Dude, I found a copy of that movie for like $9 on Blu-ray, like in like 2010. And I was like, okay, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
And I still have the copy of it in my house right now. I had never seen it though when I bought it, but it was a $9 Clint Eastwood movie. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy that. I don't give a shit. Right.
Yeah.
Because the cover of it is Clint Eastwood as a sergeant major in his Marine Corps dress blues. You know what I mean? And you're like, dang, dude, look at Clint Eastwood. He's sharp.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Yeah, and I watched it and I was like, okay.
I got to be honest. I literally just watched it for the first time maybe like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit. That was like a great movie.
Yeah.
And I never heard about it growing up.
Same.
Yeah, underrated for sure.
So remind me a little bit what the plot was. I think it was like there was a Marine Corps unit that was kind of slacking off, and they sent this old crusty sergeant major to come in and kind of straighten it out. Right?
Yeah, and he does exactly that in typical Clint Eastwood fashion. Yeah. And I forgot if they actually like went to war or what it was actually. They
got into some kind of conflict. I remember for sure they did.
Yeah.
Because I remember like towards the end of the movie, they Clint Eastwood's up there like saying like rely on your training, you know. Like,
yeah. It kind of reminded me of like the beginning of Band of Brothers. The kind of like, you know, getting together but hating that one guy. Yeah. But way better movie.
Speaking of movies and hating people, dude, watching the movie Miracle about the 1970 USA Olympic team.
Are you a fan or not?
Huge.
Yes.
Huge fan.
Dude, when he's making him do all like the suicides on the ice.
But the doc and the assistant coach are talking.
Yes.
And they're like, what does the assistant coach say? He says, if they're spending so much time hating Herb, then they have no time spending hating each other.
Yeah.
And he's uniting them.
Dude, there's so much in that movie that I don't know if everyone appreciates it, but yeah, it's hard to find like hockey movies, you know. There's plenty of movies about other sports like football, basketball, all that shit, but like actually having like a good hockey movie, dude, that was like besides like fucking Mighty Ducks, like that was a great movie.
Rapid fire, best hockey movies, top 3, go.
Fuck, Miracle, obviously, Mighty Ducks 2.
Okay.
Dude, they're just such classics.
Mine's different. Ready? Miracle. Goon. Mighty Ducks 2.
Goon is fucking good, dude. But Goon is like, Goon was so good in some parts, but so bad in other parts, dude.
Dude, I thought that movie was fantastic all around.
Dude, it was.
Second one, I was the same.
No. Second one is fucking no go, dude. But Goon was for sure a good movie. I just expected a lot more of it. I saw this really badass documentary, and it was about like Indian hockey players, like growing up and then going to this specific league. I think I might be getting two documentaries mixed up, but there's a specific league like dedicated to goons. Like they know they're not making it to the show, but they are there to like fucking fight and
can't
brawl.
Skate, can't score, but they need to fuck someone up.
Yes. And it's like it's like the ECHL on steroids. It's insane.
Nice.
That was such a sick documentary because, you know, I loved getting into fights when I was playing hockey. It was kind of just something that, you know, I wasn't like going out and being like, I'm going to fuck someone up tonight. But it was like one of those things that I just embraced.
You're just waiting
and like you kind of find out that you're like decent at it. Like fighting, you know, on skates is a different thing. And it was just one thing that I was like, kind of like, I like that. Yeah. And then, but yeah, I definitely relate to like Goon. Goon was definitely a good movie, but I thought it was just a little cheesy in some parts.
Dude, I love that movie.
But to bring it back, speaking of Westerns and speaking of Chris Pratt, how did you feel about that movie? It's not Hateful Eight, right? Is it?
Magnificent Seven.
Magnificent Seven. Yeah, Hateful Eight was with who was in that?
That was Adam Sandler. Or
no,
Samuel Jackson, Quentin.
Samuel Jackson. Yeah, that was a Quentin Tarantino. So how do you feel about Magnificent Seven? Because that's like one of those ones that's like, obviously it's not a Western, but it's like one of those ones where
it is. Okay, so you know that was a remake, right?
From the original, yes.
Yeah, so that was a remake. It's a Western, right?
But it's like a new age Western. It's not like a fucking Western.
The thing that kind of okay, so this is kind of gonna go back a little bit. I don't like that Hollywood reboots so many movies.
Yeah.
So I when that happens, especially with Westerns, I'm immediately like shut off of it. Right?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And so like I knew the original Magnificent Seven. I knew the movie. I'd seen it a couple times as a kid. I mean, I thought what I thought of it, like nothing great, nothing spectacular, but not bad.
Yeah.
But then when they announced the remake of it, I was like, why? Why though? Like, and that's kind of that's the whole premise of why I get turned off of it.
Yeah, it didn't need a remake.
It didn't need a remake, but and when I say why, typically I already know the answer to that because I know that there's people that are going to make money off of this.
Yeah. That's
why they're doing it. I know that. But I get pissed as a fan, and as a Western fan, I'm just like, stop. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. They remade it. I watched it. I thought it was a good movie. Like, I thought it was well made.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it didn't have a lot of continuity errors. The CGI was great. Or I should say the special effects were great. You know, the gunslinging was awesome. But at the same time, I'm like, it was a good movie. It was well made. But overall, it's just like, I'm pissed off the principle of like unnecessary.
Yeah.
Did not need to happen.
I thought it's like one of those.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I thought it was like one of those, because I never saw the original. So I was kind of like going off of, you know, what I saw. And right. To me, it was just a good Hollywood, like Western new age movie. Yeah. Nothing too crazy about it. Like, I'm not going to write home about it, but I actually want to go back and change my top 3 hockey movies.
Uh-oh.
So
here we go.
Slapshot.
Oh.
Yes. Slapshot, Miracle.
Old-time hockey.
Yes. And Mighty Ducks.
Okay.
So Slapshot is
Paul Newman, baby.
Yes, that's fucking great movie, dude. I can't believe I blanked it, but
yeah, me too. I did too. But great movie, fantastic.
Absolutely.
Old time hockey, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Hanson brothers, bro.
Dude, the Hanson brothers during the what is it? The national anthem when the ref comes up to him
because they started.
I'm trying to watch the fucking song.
Because they fought in the pre-skate.
Yeah, and his fucking glasses are all fucked up.
They're all bloody and they're standing there. All just messed
Dude,
up.
So classic. The Eagles actually play that every now and then. You know what they do? Like They do.
Dude,
that's awesome.
Listen to the fucking song. That's good.
That is good.
That's good.
I'm pissed I blanked that on the first half though.
That's a good movie, dude. Paul Newman is fantastic.
Yeah.
Of all the topics we've covered so far, what do you think is the most important? Is like what's the biggest takeaway here?
I think the biggest takeaway is just, we talked about that YOLO thing, and to be honest, saying it is like fucking embarrassing. But when you read through the lines, you only live once. And I think, I try and live by that every day. And it's, when you have that time to actually sit down and appreciate what you have, because not a lot of people actually think about that. Like, think about where you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. There's a lot to be grateful for right now, no matter where you are in life. So, as far as importance, I think that's a good takeaway, from this podcast. And I appreciate you letting me come on, man. It's been a fun time. We had some laughs. So thank you.
Cubs win. No, yeah, man. I think you're right. I think that's the big thing to take away from this is the fact that, the acronym YOLO is terrible.
Yes.
But, live your life like you're dying. Tim McGraw said it, man.
That's right.
So I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
You're welcome back anytime, brother.
That's right.
So,
I'll be back next week.
Yeah. Let's get it, baby.
Outro.